did you know what you were getting into?
In general, in my career, I've never really enjoyed firing people.
Yeah.
But if I have to do it, I'm going to do
Right.
it. If you clamp down too much on the fun, you're going to lose good people.
Right.
The most expensive I've paid, $5,300 a night.
Wow.
We filmed our second season during COVID.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And there was this issue about crew sneaking off to the guest cabin. I didn't want to embarrass him in front of his friends.
Yeah,
right? So
right.
I put the number on my phone and I said, I can get 2 nights for this. Yes or no, right?
Yeah.
I've had like $100,000 in a backpack of APA. Advanced Provisioning Allowance.
Oh, wow, okay.
Guys, thanks for tuning into the Sailing Doodles podcast. Excited to have Captain Glenn Shephard on the program today of the Below Deck fame. Really great guy. Got to spend the weekend hanging out with him and a few other people at the Annapolis Boat Show this past weekend, so recorded a podcast. We're going to get into all about his time at Below Deck, and he's a fellow cruiser and has his own boat and is cruising around the Med, and he's going to be doing a lot more cool things, so stick around for that. I want to say, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I'm trying to make the Doodles podcast a more frequent thing. And if you guys subscribing to the channel, leave a comment down below. That'll kind of give me the encouragement and to know that you want more programming. And if you're really enjoying it, please consider becoming a patron. You go to patreon.com/sailingdoodles, and that helps out and that really inspires me to do more. So with that, let's talk to Captain Glenn Shephard.
All right, welcome to another Sailing Doodles podcast. My guest today, you probably needs no introduction. He is Captain Glenn Shephard. So how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me here.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for coming on the show. You are of Below Deck fame.
Yes.
So how long you been on the show there now?
I think we did the first season. I think it was spring 2019. So whatever that is, 5 years.
Was it? So you're on the sailing show, right?
I'm on the Below Deck sailing yacht. Yeah.
So how was it? It was already a thing with the motor yachts before then, or what?
Yeah. So they started with the original. I think it was like 10, 12 years ago.
Okay.
And that took off, and then they decided to create another one because it was doing well. So they spun off Below Deck Med. You know, they wanted to do something different, so they did Med. And that one took off, and they said, well, let's do something else. What can we do different?
Right.
And they said, well, let's do a sailing.
So was it already, I mean, it had taken off already. So did you know what you were getting into?
Well, I worked in the industry. You know, I've been on Parsifal 15 years. So I had heard of the show.
Right.
But living in Europe, I didn't watch a lot of broadcast television. And I didn't see myself as like a reality TV kind of person.
Hey.
And I was one of those people that thought all the stuff on the show was kind of fake reality. Yep. Like a director or producer would tell this crew member, okay, you're going to sleep with her and you're going to fight with him. And they would create scenarios. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people think that.
I thought that too.
Yeah, exactly. So it's, I didn't realize. And when they first reached out to me to use the boat and everything like that, I brought that up, and the guy told me, he said, no, we don't do anything. We just get the people together, and just the craziness just happens.
So like whenever somebody gets hired or fired on the show, that's like a legit thing, or is it kind of?
Oh no, yeah, absolutely legit.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
in general in my career, I've never really enjoyed firing people.
Yeah.
But if I have to do it, I'm going to do it, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's like if it's safety's an issue or just keeping the vibe of the crew, I'm going to do it. But it's not, so it's not, none of it's made up. There's nothing created on the show.
But I mean, I guess so. It's probably a little bit different than real life because, like, in real life, you probably wouldn't tolerate the late nights at the bar type thing.
It all depends, We filmed our second season during COVID.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And there was this issue about crew sneaking off to the guest cabins.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And, I don't see a lot of it until it comes out on the show, right? Because I don't have eyes everywhere. Production, they have cameras everywhere. But I don't see everything that's happening on the boat. I got to trust my guys, right?
Yeah.
And it's a little naughty.
Yeah.
But it's a cabin on a boat.
Right.
You know what I mean?
As long as they wash the sheets, right?
Well, exactly. Well, it's often one of the stews, and she's responsible to keep that cabin clean. So that was my philosophy. It's for me, it's not a firing offense. And before, as I was working my way up, I might have snuck off to a guest cabin myself. So maybe allegedly,
hypothetically,
right? So, but the other part of that's interesting is that had the same two crew members gone off and got a hotel on a night, there's no guests on board, right? I'm only talking no guests on board, right? This is their job, but it's also their home,
right?
And it's their everyday life. If they'd gone off to a hotel because they wanted to have some time by themselves,
no big deal.
I shouldn't say anything. It's not my business, right?
Right.
So for them to go and use a guest cabin, because with COVID protocols, we couldn't get off the boat.
Oh, yeah. I didn't
you know what I mean?
That, yeah.
And so I feel it by cutting them a little bit of slack.
Sure.
When they respect that, they know I'm taking care of them.
Yeah.
And it seems to work for me. So I'm not too much, I'm not a hard ass.
Well, I mean, so I used to be in corporate aviation, and it was always, if you had a good owner and all that, or a good captain, same thing on the boat. I mean, the job could be very enjoyable or very terrible depending on who's running the show.
And I purposely try not to make it terrible.
Yeah.
So,
let's see here. So I know that it is kind of tough for crew a lot of times on the yacht because, I mean, like I said, it depends on who owns the boat and everything. But I mean, they could be gone for months or years at a time. I mean, so it's kind of a tough job, and you got to let off some steam sometime.
Exactly. And it's all young people, and that's, so.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of I guess in the captain's space, I mean, you have a little more experience, but a lot of the crew are very young, and it's some of their first jobs on boats, right? And so it's everybody's young and wanting to have fun and get out there and do it. So.
Exactly, and it's part of it.
And you're in a great place too.
If you clamp down too much on the fun, because it is a very stressful job. It's a lot of long hours, hard work.
Right.
You're going to lose good people.
Right.
And it's hard to find people. And once you find them, your job number one is to find them.
Right.
And the big part of your job is to try to keep them.
And so is there I'm sure there's a pretty high turnover in that industry, but is there a real high demand for it right now, or is it kind of because the boat market's up and down? Is it kind of cyclical?
There's always been a big demand for engineers,
right? Okay,
especially, but it's hard to find good people in all the roles, right? So if you find somebody good. Yeah, you might tolerate a bit of stuff. It just depends how far they push it.
Sure.
If they don't go too far, there's got to be a little bit of give and take. Yeah. Because if I have to fire someone, I got to hire someone.
Right. Then
that's the work. And you don't even know the next person is going to be as good as the one you just fired.
The devil
you got to weigh that. You got to weigh that. It's not like there's a line of people lined up, experienced people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have to weigh all of that.
So what are you doing when you're not on the show? So you were full-time captain on a yacht.
I was full-time on Parsifal for probably, I think, about 10 years.
Is that the sailing boat?
Same boat, one from the show, the one you see on the show. Funnily enough, we've filmed all 5 seasons on Parsifal, which is not the same on the other shows where they're using the motor yachts. They change boats around, but I think it's harder.
Change crews too on those, or is
mostly? I think that 1 or 2 people will stay, maybe 3.
Yeah.
On our show, our second season, they started with a whole new crew.
Right.
I was the only person that carried over from season 1. Yeah.
And that's you've had a lot of the same. I mean, I know Colin from Parlay.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of the same crew, or is it still turning over?
So what we had was I met Colin, Daisy, Gary on season 2.
Okay.
And they kind of became like the dream team.
Right.
So then we did 2, 3, 4 together with them again. So they were on 3 seasons. Unfortunately, Colin, he was in the middle of the Pacific when we were filming this last season.
Okay, yeah, so I didn't even
Plus, there was some messy stuff at the end of season 4 between Gary, Daisy, Colin.
Oh, no,
so,
really?
So Colin didn't he's not on season 4.
Okay.
I would love, I'm hoping that we film more seasons.
Right.
I'd like to see it go on.
Sure.
And hoping to get Colin back again in the future.
So what's
because he's a great engineer, and he's such a cool guy.
Yeah.
He's a buddy, right? I'd love to work with him.
Yeah,
again.
no, I've spent I've had a few beers with Colin a few times, so he's a good dude.
He's good.
So did you ever imagine? I mean, before the show started, that you'd be a celebrity walking around on a boat show right now?
No, it's so weird.
Yeah,
it's very weird.
It's cool. Yeah.
I'm getting used to it because I've done a couple events like BravoCon,
right?
They have these
cool. You're doing the red carpet and walking all that.
Dude, it's so strange.
Yeah.
But and especially at BravoCon, it's like the full rock star experience.
Yeah.
Because if you walk out on it's a big. I think there's 35. I don't know. There's a ton of people there.
Yeah.
I don't know how many thousands, but there are a lot of people there. And you walk out on the convention floor, and there's like Captain Glenn you know, and they mob you for selfies.
That's
and
cool.
stuff.
Signing autographs.
It's weird.
Taking selfies.
Taking selfies.
Yeah.
So kind of like here at the show is kind of a similar response because, you know, people who like sailboats especially, they'll watch a show like Below Deck Sailing Yacht, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's a little bit more, you know, you get on the super yachts and all that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's a Perini Navy. What is it, 100?
Perini Navy, 177 foot.
Yeah, so I mean, it's still a super yacht, right?
Yeah, it's a super yacht.
But it's still sailing, and it gets kind of the more everyman fans, I would imagine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so what do you, so when you're not on the show, what are you doing?
I live in Palma, Mallorca. A lot of super yacht captains and crew live in Palma.
Just because
I don't know why. It's like, well, you know, a lot of boats are med-based, and they will cross over to the Caribbean for the winter, which we used to do every winter. I've done like 22 Atlantic crossings on bigger boats. But yeah, a lot of people are based either in the south of France, Antibes, near Nice, or Palma. Those are kind of the bases. And it seems like Palma is more sailboat oriented.
Yeah, and I mean, the Med has kind of a short sailing season, but Palma's, you know, in Spain, there south and up. It's not too bad in the winters.
No, not bad at all.
Yeah.
Like that's where I spent you know, winters there.
Yeah.
And it's not bad at all.
And you're cruising. Are you living on your own boat though? Right?
I have a 42-foot Jeanneau that's in Croatia right now.
Okay.
So we started cruising in March. Soon after, went to Turkey. We spent 3 months in Turkey. Month and a half crossing Greece to get to Croatia. Now a couple months in Croatia.
I mean, I love Greece, and I mean, Greece and Croatia are very similar. Croatia's just a lot more expensive.
Yeah,
but it's still
Greece
pretty.
is amazing.
I know, right? I mean, you can med more for $20 a night on a with power.
Exactly.
And you're like, oh,
dude, there was one marina we went to in a little island called Andros. Okay, beautiful little port. We went in there, we tied up. They had free dockage, free water, and free electricity.
Yeah.
Just help yourself.
Well, because they want you to come spend
They want
money
you
at
to
their
come and go to the
restaurants and all that
tavernas.
stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, but that's good. So when you would take the Perini Navy across the Atlantic, how many times have you done that?
On Parsifal, I think I did it like 10 times or 10 or 12 times. We used to go every winter, right?
So how long would that take you? I mean, obviously probably longer going back,
I think it's a couple weeks from Jib.
Yeah.
And we mostly motor sail.
Yeah.
Because we're on a schedule.
Right.
And we come out of Jib, and you know she's a big boat.
Yeah.
And 15 knots from behind is not going to push us at our cruising speed.
Okay.
You know, we're doing 11.
Right.
You know, so 15 knots. You need 20, 25 from behind.
Are you doing like half wind speed on average, or what?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we would come out. You know, the trades only really pick up further south.
Right.
So we would come out of Jib. We'd go north of Madeira and straight to St. Martin.
Yeah.
A couple times. Once we had a charter, and we sailed the whole way back.
Yeah.
And another time we had a problem with the bearings, and we had to get back. We didn't want to risk damaging the shaft on the bearings. They were kind of melting.
Yeah.
So we just said, hey, it's a sailboat. Let's just sail.
Go.
And we just sailed. I think we have the record for a Perini Navy having the sail up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we had sails up for a month.
They're beautiful boats. I mean, I've never seen one that big, but I mean, you know, down in the Caribbean, you go down like the Virgin Islands and all that, where the deep water is.
Yeah.
You know, we've been into the Bahamas a lot. It's a little, you can't quite take it in the Bahamas.
No, I did a charter through the Bahamas. I had some guests come on. We picked them up in the Grenadines, and we went up through
all the way up there.
Yeah, we started in the Grenadines. We were dropping them off we were in St. Bart's. And one of my crew overheard the guy, the principal, saying, I'd love to take this boat all the way to Miami. And they came and told me, and I went back to him and said, hey, are you serious? He said, yeah, I'd like to. There were 6 couples on board. All the ladies left. 3 of the guys left.
Yeah.
3 stayed, and he started calling his buddies and said, hey, I've got this boat. I'm taking all the...
Wow.
We didn't go to Miami because there's a lot of logistical nightmare taking a commercial vessel into America. But we went to Cat Key.
Yeah.
All through it was amazing.
So, I mean, what do you draft on that boat?
We're 15 foot.
15 foot. That's...
We were in the raggeds. We anchored in the raggeds.
I mean...
I had my tender Conner way in, in
ahead.
5, maybe, not much water underneath us.
Yeah.
The Coast Guard came to check us out.
Really?
Do a routine check.
Yeah.
And they also had a 4.5 meter draft on a big,
Coast Guard boat.
Coast Guard cutter.
Okay.
US but they were... No, the Bahamian.
Okay.
They were about a mile behind us,
Yeah.
and they came on board. And they're like, "How the hell did you get all the way in here?" We just very carefully, slowly.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
but it's not an ideal boat for the Bahamas.
No. I mean,
15 foot.
Well, the good thing about the Med, you keep it there. I mean, the Med's deep pretty much everywhere.
Med's no problem.
And then when you get further down the Caribbean, I mean, like, you know, the BVI.
We never have any problem in the Caribbean. Yeah, it's all pretty straightforward.
So you haven't taken it over to the Pacific though?
Not yet. No, that's kind of the dream. That's every captain's dream.
Are you going to do that in your boat, or what are you going to do?
On my boat, I'm planning to. Yeah.
Okay. What's your cruising schedule for that?
I don't. You know, first they got to get over this side. Right. So we'll come. I think we'll cross next winter or the winter after. Go to the Caribbean. Yeah. The Bahamas again, East Coast. Yeah. And then I want to do the West Coast, Pacific Northwest, Baja, and then probably head out. So I think probably be about 5 or 6 years before I get to the Pacific. Yeah. I mean that's or at least to the South Pacific.
South Pacific. Yeah. I mean I love doing. I that's kind of my own thing. Is like, you know, we're planning to do a circumnavigation. And it's like, we were thinking about crossing in spring of 26, but I'm like, but then we're gonna miss so much like Central America. Yeah. And you can't. I mean, it's a one-way trip. You know, I mean, like,
yeah, exactly. I mean, and I don't want to. I don't want to rush. There's so much stuff to see. You know, I don't understand people who do like fast circumnavigations. Yeah, yeah. It doesn't make sense because there's so much to see.
Well, we did. So I picked up. We did a delivery sort of, and we picked a boat up in Vancouver, Canada.
Sure.
And went all the way down to Mexico. We left Vancouver, Canada, like basically Halloween, and we got to Thailand in September. And so, but we left Mexico in March, right? So like Mexico to Thailand in 6 months. And yeah,
that's a bit fast.
We got. I mean, I did the math. We were at sea like half of the time. Yeah. I mean, so.
Yeah. I don't want to do it to tick it off. I want to take my time and see it all. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Any favorite places that
I've seen so far? Yeah. Well, I'm a big fan of the Bahamas. I love the Bahamas.
Well, your boat, I mean, the 42s, you know, I mean, should be great for that. What do you
I had a 210, but I'm changing the keel. Okay. I got the drawings from Jeannot.
Really?
And I had a guy built me a keel in the UK, a spec keel for a shallow draft.
I mean, so they cut the fiberglass off and pull the...
No, it's a bolt-on. It's a bolt-on keel, yeah. Okay. So it's the same bolt pattern, like when they make the boat in Jeannot factory. So they have one standard keel here and one shallow draft, and it's just whichever one they bolt on. Yeah. And of course, the rudder is cut to the same... Yeah. You know, same draft to match it. Yeah. But that's the plan. I want to do the French canals next summer if I can. Well, so I'll swap out the keel. Okay. And then keep going with that keel to the Bahamas.
I'm not familiar with the French canals. What's like?
So it's sort of like the intercoastal. Okay. But you can't, you can't keep the mast up because there's tunnels and stuff. A lot of locks, right? Right. But you can go all the way up through Paris.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Okay, yeah, you can hang it. There's a marina right in the center of Paris.
Do you just like lay the mast on the deck, or what do you
do? A lot of people do. You build like a trestle out of 2x4s, but you can also ship it for like $1,000. Oh. And I'm just going to ship mine because it overhangs on both ends. Yeah. Some of the locks are rounded sides, and you're smashing the end of the mast against the dock and
so
stuff.
So for $1,000, you ship it to
$1,000. I want to take my time again and see it all. Cool. You know, a lot of people go through just to deliver and get up there without having to go outside.
Well, I imagine. I mean, like. I'm sure Paris and all that's pretty expensive, but I mean, like
no, it's not. Like the canal's not expensive.
It's really not.
No, because you can. First of all, you're not allowed to tie to trees.
What do you mean? There's trees? Wait, what?
No, it's a long canal, and there's all these beautiful little villages on it, and it's extensive. I mean, there's canals all through France, but also through Germany and the Netherlands. Really? Of course, Amsterdam. So you can take the boat to Amsterdam. Wow. Tie up in downtown Amsterdam.
Cool.
So there's all that if you want to do it. England too, but the canals in England are a bit narrow. Yeah. Some of them are quite narrow. But yeah, you buy stakes, wooden stakes, and you just rock up anywhere. Get off the boat and drive your stakes into the ground. Just tie to the stakes,
like into the beach or shoreline or whatever.
Exactly,
and then
along the canal.
Is there current going, or is it stagnant?
I think there's some current. Yeah, especially the river part. There's some current you've got to fight, but not a lot. I don't think it's too crazy, but a lot of locks.
And it's pretty.
Like 200 locks.
Really, that many? Wow.
Yeah. So if you're tied up alongside with your own stakes, you're not paying anything. Right. But the marinas are not like the Mediterranean prices. So it made $15, $20. Yeah, water, electricity, same drill, you know.
And then I mean, that's what I found too is when you're traveling in Europe and all that, and you're not in a place like Capri or whatever.
Capri's expensive.
Oh, it's really expensive. Yeah. But
I anchored in Capri in my boat. A couple summers ago in 33 meters.
30. Wow. How much? 30.
It's like a 10-story building. I got 100 meters of chain.
100 meters. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Geez. But I mean, I was 3 to 1, and just I had it all down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was anchored in 20 and I had to move. Yeah. And it was, middle of the night. So I said, I'm going to go for it. I tried it. I dug it in and it held. Yeah. It was light wind.
Well, that's the problem. I mean, we were just in Capri. So we sailed around Italy for a bit. And the problem is to anchor out, you had to be so far. So you had to anchor.
It's a tough place to anchor. But I think Capri, I don't know what you think, but I think Capri is one of the coolest islands on the planet. For sure, it's an amazing island. It is. Everyone should visit Capri.
It is. And I liked it because like we ended up staying in the marina there. And it was like 430 euros a night.
They wanted $275 from my boat in like, I think it was September or October.
Only $275?
Yeah.
For your giant
No, 42.
Okay.
No, I don't know if I've ever been in there. I've been in there like on a 40-meter motor yacht when I first started.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they have space big enough for Parsifal in there. I've anchored there a few times.
Yeah, but you can. Yeah, but there's a lot of big boats anchored out, but you have to be pretty deep water for that.
The most expensive I've paid was in Ibiza.
Yeah.
A few years ago, and
on your boat,
on Parsifal.
Okay.
$5,300 a night.
Wow. Euros or dollars?
Yeah, that was euros. and the primary charter.
Yeah.
He said, "Yeah, we want to go there. Can you organize it?" I called my agent, booked it. I said, "How much is it?" And she told me the price, and I'm like, "Wow."
And
I had to give her an answer quickly. Yeah. The guy was off the boat. You know, so when he came back, I didn't want to embarrass him in front of his friends. Right? So I put the number on my phone and I said, I can get 2 nights for this. Yes or no, right?
Yeah.
Because you know what I mean? And he didn't bat an eye. So $10,000 for 2 nights on the dock. That's pretty rich. But that's Ibiza, right?
Yeah, but I'm sure
that's Ibiza.
But I'm sure it's to charter that boat's got to be what, $150,000, $200,000 a week?
250.
250.
Yeah, 225 to 250.
So what's the next? He's
paying 35. But I've had people get upset at me over a $200 taxi.
Yeah.
You know Trestle Key or Trestle Island. You know the airport in
the Bahamas.
Beef.
Trellis.
Yeah, Trellis Bay.
Trellis Bay.
So, and you can literally walk from the dock to the airport.
Yeah, you can.
But I had to have a taxi come like an hour before the guest departed, get all the luggage, and then take it to the airport. It's only a mile.
Yeah.
But they're not going to do that for $5 because they got I was like $200.
Right, okay,
but they had to hang around and come back for the guests and stuff. Yeah. But then the charter client got all upset at me for $200. So you never know. It's my job. You know, they send 25%. I've had like $100,000 in a backpack of APA, Advanced Provisioning Allowance.
Oh, wow, okay.
For charters. Because it's my job to organize whatever if they want a helicopter, I get them a helicopter. Yeah. They want food, dockage, whatever. Yeah. That's my job. But I'm spending their money.
Yeah. And
you got to justify it. Yeah. So, it's a bit tricky.
Yeah, but it's kind of like if you're spending that much money on a boat, it's a bit... I don't know. It's all like if Elon Musk walks down the street and loses $1,000, it's not worth his time to turn around and grab it.
Exactly. But you never know what you're going to get. Yeah. Some people are the opposite. You know.
Yeah. Well, that's how they probably got rich in the first place.
Maybe.
Penny pensions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Most of them are not like that.
So how does that like? So I imagine the crews that work on boats that do a lot of charter, they probably like it because it's. Do they make most of their money on tips or salary?
I would say if the boat's busy enough, you probably make more money on tips. And the tips can be multiples of your salary.
Yeah. And so is it like, is it 20%, 15%? What do they do?
It used to be closer to 20. I had 25 one time. Mm-hmm. Had a software guy, and he gave us 25%.
Yeah. And you get to split that with everybody, though, right?
Of course, equally.
Yeah.
Nine on Parsifal 9 ways.
There's
some boats that kind of are dodgy where the department heads try to take more, but it's not cool.
Yeah. It's not cool. Creates resentment.
You work as a team. You're individual team members. You split it evenly. Yeah. I've had one tip like 207,000. You know, we split it, but 207,000.
And how many crew?
Tip.
Nine crew.
Nine crew on
That's still
Parsifal.
like $20,000 of.
Yeah, I bought a car with 9.
Well, of course you would. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I had to pitch in with a little BMW convertible. I had to pitch in some more. But
so what was so before the show, and you say you're just running charters on Parsifal, like what was the average schedule? What did you have a crew rotation or what would you do?
No, you'd usually hire people for the season.
Okay.
You go into a shipyard or marina when you get back from the Caribbean. You're there for a couple months, getting the boat ready for the next season.
Right.
as much as you could, you would have people there that have been there a year. You know,
it's the same. You would prefer to have the same people come back.
Oh yeah, and they don't even leave. You know, so they'll do the season, the charter season, but they stay on. You know, they just stay on the whole year. But it's a very transient industry, so people are coming, going all the time. But as much as possible, you try to keep the same people. They know the boat. You know, there's you lose a lot of knowledge when people move on. You know, yeah.
Well, I know it's a kind of it's always been an issue in the States because have you ever heard of? I'm sure you've heard of it, the Jones Act.
Yeah, I'm very aware of the Jones Act.
It really, I mean,
it
limits what you can do because
like, also limits the boats that are going to register a U.S. flag, right?
So say your boat being Italian made, right?
Italian made, yeah.
So
UK flagged.
Okay, but you couldn't take a charter from, say, New York and go down to Miami. You would have to go like the Bahamas or somewhere else.
Exactly. It's a lot of issues as far as that for you can't go point to point in America. So I think you can start in the Bahamas and maybe come to Miami to drop off.
Right.
But it's also complicated coming into the States with a commercially registered vessel, right?
Is there any so say the charter starts in Nassau and you take them around the Bahamas a little bit and it ends in Nassau. Is there any hoops to jump through with that, like as far as running a charter?
No, that's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty straightforward.
You don't have to do anything with the Bahamian government on that, or I don't know, maybe they don't.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
No, they're pretty. Yeah. I mean, I only did that one in the Bahamas.
Yeah. Well,
we started in the Grenadines and we took the boat all the way to Capt. You know.
So did you just? So when the guy said I would love to take this to Miami, and you did that, like.
Dude, that was amazing.
Did you not have another charter afterwards, or how did you get there?
My boss was supposed to come on the next day, and I had to go through the bridge in Simpson Bay to get ready for the boss to come.
Yeah.
And it was like, do you want to keep the boat? Yeah. And my boss on the other phone, he wants to keep. My boss ended up staying at his resort, his house in Capt. And used his 110-foot Broward or something.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because he said, use my boat. I want to keep your boat for another week. So that guy was great. The charter was amazing guy and took really good care of the crew.
So, speaking of Simpson Bay and going through that bridge,
I've been through there.
On that boat?
We're 11 meters, so I have I have 3 meters on each side.
Okay, because it's
pretty easy. It's still nerve-wracking.
Well, there's been several boats that have crashed.
Yeah, I know. I've seen them. You saw the one that took out the little booth.
Yeah.
Oh my god! And I don't know if the captain knew that anchor thing, that anchor balcony was open.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he can't see it.
Right.
I think somebody opened it prematurely.
Yeah.
Because had that balcony not been open, they wouldn't have taken out the thing, right? They would have still rubbed up against the pilings.
Yeah.
But that guy was lucky. The bridge operator wasn't in that booth.
Well, I mean, hopefully he bailed out ahead of time. But I mean, there's that other one that had like a steer by wire or propulsion by wire thing, the one that hit the yacht club right there next to it.
Yeah. I've had some pretty hairy because it can be windy and you've got a current that goes in and out of there, right? Yeah. So if you're going against the currents, great. But if the current's going with you, it affects your steerage, right?
Yeah.
So but I've done it so many times.
All right. So do you have with Below Deck? Do you have any more? You said season 5 may or may
season not? 5 we filmed it last summer.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'm allowed to talk about it now because it was announced about a month ago.
Okay.
So it's all public. Otherwise, I have to keep hush hush, right?
Sure. Okay.
So season 5 we filmed it last summer in Ibiza. I think it's going to be a great season.
Cool.
It's already started airing last Monday, and there's episode number 2. It's coming on there tonight.
All right. And what channel is that on?
That's on Bravo. I don't, it's all around the world. They played in the UK, they played in Canada, but I don't know exactly which channel it's on. Yeah. It's on, some of the older seasons are on Netflix in Europe.
Okay.
But Bravo's the main one, Bravo and Peacock.
Cool. Yeah. All right, and you have a pretty good, your own social media following.
Yeah.
And so
Captain Instagram. Captain Glenn Shephard, or Capt, CAPT _ and then on Facebook, it's just Captain Glenn Shephard.
I'll have a
please do. I want more followers.
Yeah. So you get to follow along on his adventures, Glenn's adventures as you sail your own boat around the world. Yeah. Are you gonna? I think you should document some of that. I think a lot of people would enjoy seeing that.
Meeting all you guys, I'm seriously considering it. Right. It's just that I have a lot of respect for you guys because I know how much hard work goes into it. And I kind of like my chill out time, but I think I might do it.
I think you would have a successful career at it. So
thank you very much. Right. That's very encouraging.
Well, Glenn, thank you so much for coming on the podcast with me.
My pleasure. Nice meeting you.
All right, man. Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
Cheers.